Hi, this is Dr. Kristen Scatliff of MD Fem Incorporated. We really appreciate you tuning into our podcast, and we know that you value the information that we give as physicians, but I want to make something very clear. Do not use this information over the advice of your own primary care provider. That is the doctor that sees you. That's the doctor that knows all of your comorbidities, your medications, and everything else that's going on with you. We want you to take their advice. This is not formal medical advice. Okay? Feel free to DM us or email us at mdfem@gmail.com or on IG at mdfem or on our Facebook, MDFem Live. Thank you for tuning in. Hi, everybody. This is MD Fem. I'm Dr. Scatliff, and welcome to our next episode. This one is going to be called Don't Sell My Son a Gun. Get ready. We have Dr. Logan Chowdhury and Dr. Candace Wall-Bennett, both family practice physicians. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Welcome. And so we're going to have an interesting conversation about gun control. And I don't have any children, and I don't have any guns. So you guys, let's go. Okay. So first question is, where do you stand on gun control in the U.S. right now? Do you think it's too tight? Do you think it's too lax? What do you want to see change? Who wants to start?
Well, I can start. So it's definitely too relaxed. It's definitely too relaxed. I feel like it's definitely a single male made these law enforcements without children, or I don't know, not watching the news lately. To be honest with you, I think it's very relaxed. I think it definitely can be tighter.
Okay, Dr. Chaudhry, where do you stand on the gun control? Do you think it's too tight? Do you think it's too lax? What do you want to see, different?
So I think it's too lax. I think a kid goes into a gas station and asks for cigarettes or alcohol, and he's carded. He's told no, this and that. You go to a gun show, kid asks to see a bunch of guns, and yeah, sure, why not? And let's get you started on this. I think that's completely inappropriate. I understand our amendments of the right to bear arm. I'm totally in agreement with handguns and rifles. I'm fine with that. But it's the high ammunition that I have a problem with. Why, outside of the military, do citizens need to have high ammunition guns, high rounds?
So now that we brought up the law, let me clarify some of this research that we did. So for those of you who don't know, the Second Amendment states that a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. It specifically says militia. It was in terms of war, right? That's what the amendment was about. Now, of course, everything gets ratified and pulled out and so forth. So you had different things, different appeals and court cases that came about. And the most recent one that we can talk about is the one that happened in 2022, New York State Rifle and Pistol Association versus Bruin. And the court considered it constitutionally under the Second Amendment of a portion of New York's firearm licensing scheme that restricts the carrying of certain licensed firearms outside the home. In a 6-3 decision, the court struck down New York's requirement that an applicant for an unrestricted license to carry a handgun inside the home for self-defense must establish proper cause, ruling that the requirement is at odds with the Second Amendment. So New York was trying to make things stricter, and they basically knocked it down. That's the most recent thing that we had happen. And then, of course, we've had countless what I call mass shootings or school shootings. We can talk about, there's this. So this is the other problem, right? So the CDC for a long time was not allowed to collect data about gun shootings. It was actually barred by a Republican representative that we won't name, okay, for many years, who's a well-known NRA gun lobbyist, XYZ. Okay. So funding wasn't going to them for this. And then only recently in the last couple of years are we getting actual statistics that show that guns are killing children more than cancer.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's sad.
It's very sad.
Yeah.
It's very sad. And then so the problem is also that the definitions of mass shootings and of incidental shootings are always different between different organizations and different regions and different states and different countries. So we can't get a unified, thing on it because some people loop in things that have to do with politics or you know what I'm saying, like, you know, if somebody's like a terrorist attack or something, they loop that into the whole thing. They don't separate the school shooting from the EC, and that now becomes a problem with statistics and so forth. So all of that is muddling the data. And then on top of all of that, you have the gun lobbyists who are very well powered and very well represented on the Hill. And basically, they have shut down a lot of different things that have come up through pipelines to try to control things. The only reason we went from 18 to 21 federally was what happened in Uverdale. When that shooting happened, Texas changed the law from 18 to 21.
Isn't that
that's
sad?
And
That everything is like you have to wait until something bad happens for it to be fixed. It's like, wow, where is the preventative?
thank you. The law is reactive rather than proactive. That's the first problem. The second problem is the definition between rifles, handguns, and long guns. Because they like to say that long guns are for shooting, like, you know, wildlife and hunting, and they're protected. Okay? That's a problem because certain semi-automatic weapons are getting looped into these little loopholes of definitions, and that's why kids are being able to get access to these guns because they're saying, "Oh, well, I'm teaching my son how to hunt."
So that's where the problem is, because a handgun has 6 rounds, and then a rifle has only a couple rounds. That's okay because by the time you're trying to, someone else has a gun, they're gonna shoot you. You know what I'm saying? It's that high ammunition. It's these high magazines. Like, what is the need for that to be sold all the time? Like, shouldn't that just be a military type of thing? I mean,
there's no need. First of all, let's talk about guns in general.
Honestly, there's actually no need for something like this.
Thank you. I want to go on record. There's no need for a civilized community to need regular, everyday people walking around with guns. Yeah. I'm sorry. No. I'm sorry. You can say crime and you can say, "Oh, I'm protecting my house." I'm sorry. Stable Mabel blow your head off. It's a problem, okay? Like, it's not okay. And then you have children in your home. And yes, we have other things that we're going to get into about how you can protect your kids if you have a gun in your home. You know, husbands and wives see things differently. We understand, okay? So we can tell you those things. But I just really think if you're living in a civilized community and you can't de-escalate a situation without a firearm, we have a problem. Yeah. We have a problem.
Wait, what?
I think that's a problem.
Notice here, Kristen, from living from Chicago to Texas, is that people are more aware that people have guns. Basically, you assume you assume here in Texas, everybody has a gun. So you're a little more cautious.
Off the bat.
Assumption, everybody has a gun. So do you there's not many house break-ins because they assume you're gonna have a gun on the other side and you're gonna shoot them, right? So there's not many house break-ins because of that assumption. I mean, it's a different type of mentality.
But also, Loves, I understand there's not many house break-ins, but the other problem I find with it is that road rage, like driving, I always assume that person's got something in their glove compartment. I'm good. I don't want nothing with it because I've actually had one of my friends had a weapon brandished on him.
Yeah,
in an accident
too. So,
like,
first thing my husband tells me when we move here, you need to lay off the horn because in Chicago we use the horn, right? But
New York we use the horn. In New York we use the horn. I have not touched my horn in a year and how many months? Never. Not once.
Years I haven't used my horn because I'm like, you know what? It's not worth getting shot at. So it's like
I can be late.
You guys are gonna make me think about my horn next time. I must say, because I'm such a horn person.
The road. You got the whole road. You don't know. You never know.
That assumption makes things a little bit more civilized in the fact that you're like, okay, my assumption is I have a gun and they're kind of a little crazy. Let it be, man. Because otherwise, I'll be like, I'm gonna do a lesson now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna get in front of you and I'm gonna slam the brakes and I'm gonna go real slow. I won't do that here in Texas. I don't have that reaction.
So I see, yeah, exactly. So I see what you're saying. It has its places, but I feel like the types of weapons that are allowed to, and then the carrying here too. You know, you can carry around here, right? Like, you know, I'm like, are we in
Wild Wild West?
So me and my husband have a license, but then they dropped that law. Problem to me.
that they dropped it, so you don't need that anymore.
You can just go and get it and do it, and that's a big problem for me.
That's a problem because not people are not getting education about guns and gun safety. They don't know how to clean their gun. They don't know how to take care of their gun properly.
Also,
It's going to be under the Plaxico Burgess, and I don't know if you know who that is. Plaxico Burgess, for the people who are listening, was a NFL player, I believe, and basically he sat down with his gun, no safety, shot himself in the foot. That's because he doesn't know anything about guns at that time, or didn't knew little to nothing, right? Just went out, got a gun, and bolstered it, right?
for the
So
class to get the license, the end of the class is going and driving to a shooting range and learning to do shooting and learning to load and reload and everything like that. If you don't have even that simple basic training, you should not just walk up to any store and then be like, all right, well, I got it now. Now what?
a man was recently arrested for going up to skaters in a church parking lot with a gun. You could tell that he doesn't know much about guns because of the way that he held the gun when he walked up on them. Okay? And I said, well, this is somebody who just went off the street and went and bought a gun, had no gun education, because he's literally holding it like this. I'm like, I'm so sorry. This is not GTA. And for those of you who don't know that, Grand Theft Auto is a game on many platforms, and that's what they do. They hold the guns on the side. This is nonsense. That's not how you. This is nonsense. So, gun education is a big part of owning a gun. It's a part of the responsibility of being a gun owner. And I would think that the NRA would want to make sure that that happens for everybody so that their name stays good. But no, they want to lax everything up because it allows more and more, of their stuff to come through. I personally think it's so dangerous. You don't know what you're doing, and you can hurt yourself and your loved ones. You're there trying to clean the gun, and somebody across the room gets killed. I mean, like, that happens.
Kristen, with that said, so I wasn't a big gun fan, right? We do have guns in the house. We have safes. We have the fingerprint, right?
Mm-hmm.
This and people's not having that knowledge and that proper training. When me and my husband do go to the gun range, I do see parents with their younger kids, 13, 14, 15. The respect that they have for the gun and the understanding in these young kids is amazing to see because they're being trained at a young age to understand it, respect it, know how to use it in a proper situation. Okay. Before I would have said, heck no, never, ever. Now we're in a different society, in a different situation where I don't want my kid to be in the front of a gun and not know how to disarm it or get rid of it, like in a way, in a safe way. You know what I'm saying? Say they're at their friend's house playing. I don't know that that family has a gun, and those kids don't know how to use it. But at least my kid will be like, listen, that's not a toy. Get it and then disarm it and give it to the owner. You know what I'm saying? Like, because then I don't want to be shot by some stupid kid.
So how how old is your oldest child?
6. I mean, I'm not ready yet to show him how to use.
Okay, I'm just checking. Just checking.
So my problem with this is even at 13, 14, 15, right? If you can remember yourself at 13, 14, 15, the impulsivity, the reactionary
Exactly. It's everything
behavior,
is a game. Everything
the
is
hyperactiveness,
play.
the ready to fly off the handle. Oh, somebody bullied me at school. Somebody did this, blah, 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 blah. And I know the way to get to the safe. I know like their children, there's so many little stories of kids taking like a book and trying every little number of code and then figuring out what the code is to get into the gun, and then going and taking it, and then something happens at school or something happens in a public place. And then they're playing games like, all these guns. I'm not going to name any games because I'm a gamer. I do not play shooting games though. Okay, that's because it's very violent. They've gotten out of control. Like these things are on a very accurate level, and that shooting that happened in Buffalo was exactly the way you would see and like a role playing game, like literally a first player gunman in a game. That's exactly how he did it. So that's why I'm like, no. Yeah. Those I'm good. No. Any other game you want to play? Sure. Auntie Kristen's got you for the system, no problem. That we can do, but no gun games.
But here's the thing: is that we're in a society guns are there, and I'd rather have my kid know how to use it and take care of himself than not. And I don't think that I would teach. I would think that I would teach him enough not to be stupid like that, to be reactive, and have respect for it. But at the same time, the society we're in, I don't want my kid being approached by some other kid with a gun in the house and not knowing what to do. And then,
So I agree with you in that sense. I understand. You're teaching him gun safety. I get it. I get it totally. I just feel like kids are no matter how you teach a child, when they get in a place where they can't express themselves and they just can't deal with that emotion, they're
but
gonna react.
too, right? That's adult.
That's adults too. I agree, but it's gonna happen more frequently with someone who's immature, emotionally immature, right? Well, there's adults that are emotionally immature also. So point taken. All right. So anyhow, but also a big thing is when you send your kids on play dates, do you ask them, is there a gun in the house? Is that something routinely that you guys do as moms?
Yes.
Luckily, I haven't had that. Luckily, I have not had to ask that question before.
Do you think they're being transparent though? Completely transparent?
No, I don't think so.
I feel like in Texas you have to.
So.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know about PA though.
Usually right now they're young enough where I'm there with them. You know what I'm saying? They're not at that. Okay. There's only one friend I've ever dropped my oldest off at, and I know they don't have guns in their house, and that because I asked and I know, but usually I'm also there as well, so I'm around. I feel comfortable enough for my kids to be on dates without me in the room.
But if she had a gun, how would things change?
Well, then I would ask, where is it, and how is it locked up, and do kids know where it is?
Exactly. Is it in a locked, safe space away from these children? Is it a registered firearm? Yeah. Like, is this legal? Or you got something we need to know about? We don't ask these. I'm just in my research for the episode. I'm like, wow, I would never even think to ask, hey, is there a gun in your house?
Exactly. To be honest, I have never thought.
I feel like if I was still in Chicago, the answer would be no. But now that I'm here, the answer is yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Being in Texas has kind of been hypersensitive to it. So you're like, everybody's got a gun. You got to ask this question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it seemed in, I guess, PA, New York, it's I never thought about it because we're not hypersensitive.
Yeah. I think it's just here it's a little bit more. So that's why.
So this is an interesting fact I want to kind of bring in here. Only 6 states, Florida, Washington, Vermont, California, Illinois, and Hawaii, have increased the minimum purchase age for long guns to 21.
Only.
Utah raised it to 21 post the shooting of Uvalde, Texas. Yeah. But before that, it was only those that had done it for long guns. Because remember, long guns are the ones they say I'm teaching my son how to hunt and stuff.
I mean, even the amount of training before they said no in Texas, the training class is a joke. 3-day class in Illinois versus a half-a-day class in Texas. There's a big difference.
3 days
for conceal and carry.
Half a day.
3 days for conceal and carry.
Oh, wow. Don't you think this should be standard across all the states? I don't aren't we the same people?
Wait. Remember that we have federally stated things, and then we have state laws, and then we have counties. That's how our government is set up, okay? So when we start going down that rabbit hole, we're going to start questioning a whole ton of laws because a lot of them fall into that purview,
it's state by state dependent. It might even be city by city.
Yeah, it's state dependent.
But I think it's state by state dependent.
Yes, it's going to be based
on
I
want to know, how many people do we have to kill until this is federally mandated?
Wow. I don't know the answer to that question, Dr. Well, I'm going to...
And honestly, I don't even think that they care enough to have a number because they don't care. You know what I'm saying? I feel like if you don't care at this point of where we are, you just don't care then, which is sad.
Wow. So the states that have relaxed their minimum age restrictions for guns, this is long guns, is Arizona, Idaho, Texas, Arkansas, New Hampshire, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Missouri, and South Carolina.
They've relaxed it?
They relaxed their minimum age. This is for the long gun. Remember, we have to classify what we're talking about. Long gun, handgun, there's a different classifications. So they're classifying the long gun as something that is oh, I'm teaching them to hunt. I'm teaching.
So these
no,
aren't. You're
it's
not talking about like high
Go
rounds. You're just talking about rifles. Okay.
rifles, exactly,
Okay.
exactly. A long gun refers to a rifle or a shotgun. Federal law does not allow a licensed dealer to sell those types of weapons to a minor under the age of 18. That's the federal law. That's not the state law, okay? These are the states that relax that law. So less than 18 could get a long gun. Does that make sense? However, unlicensed individuals may sell or transfer a rifle or a shotgun and its ammunition to a person of any age. While there's a set age to buy or sell a long gun through a license transfer, there is none for unlicensed sellers. That's how you're getting those guns to younger people. Does that make sense? And then handguns are defined basically, we know what a handgun is, right? So basically anything that carries a couple of rounds, not over, a certain amount. And then they're saying federal law says that licensed dealers cannot sell those to anyone under the age of 21. However, if you're an unlicensed dealer, you may not sell or transfer any handgun to anyone that you believe is under the age of 18. So you don't even have to.
Oh my God, you're not even checking.
You just have to say, yeah. Believe is the statement in the law. Okay, so and the state law in Texas generally restricts people from intentionally or knowingly selling, renting, leasing, giving, or offering to sell, rent, lease, or give a firearm to any minor that's younger than 18 years old. That's what their first statement says. This restriction on furnishing firearms to minor is subject to multiple exceptions, including if the minor's parent or guardian gave a written permission for the sale or transfer. So if daddy said you can have it, you can have it.
I don't know, man. It's just,
we
live in a different world, right? We live in a different world than when we grew up. We can't let our kids go trick-or-treating without us around. They can't go sell cookies door by door without us around. I mean, you can't even go to Target without getting like hunted, like for trafficking. It's scary.
Minors may be able to temporarily own or possess firearms due to activities like employment or farming. How broad is that? Like employment.
I don't know.
I really want to just focus on, as physicians, how important gun control is, because what we see, coming through our doors. So as a critical care doc, I work in traumas, okay? And things that happen by accident will blow your mind with a gun, okay? And this is like no intention, like kids killing kids, kids killing parents, parents killing kids, because there's not proper gun, education, or somebody was cleaning the gun and didn't realize there was something in the chamber. All these other things happen, okay? Or we have instances where people go to a party, teenagers go to a party, someone has a gun, someone got offended, blah, 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 pop, there it goes, okay? It's not just gang violence. It's a whole, there's a whole plethora of things that's going on. And then we all see the mass shootings. And at an elementary school,
to be a parent with a kid in elementary school is probably the scariest thing right now.
It's scary.
Very scary.
Like, you think that that's the place, okay, this is not going to happen at this level of school.
Exactly.
Nope. There it goes.
You guys, I have air tags on my kids' backpacks, so I monitor where they are.
Oh yes. Yes. I bought one and I secured one just for when he goes to school. But but even if you do have the air tag, how does that still not prepare you if something happens? It just tells you, oh, my child was there.
That's it. Is he still there? I don't know. And we put it on his backpack, so that could go anywhere. So it's terrifying. It's like,
so let me ask you a question as your kid gets older, though, because this is all terrifying for me, and I have no children. But as your kid gets older, are you going to be checking their backpack
to see if there's something in it?
Yeah,
I check it every day. Of course, I won't stop checking it.
Is that not a violation of their privacy, guys?
You live under my roof. There's no privacy when you live under my roof. Okay.
Exactly. As long as you live here, there's no privacy. I'm sorry.
If you have your own place, I won't be doing that. But when you live under my roof, I'm checking your stuff.
On behalf of Joshua and Ismail. I'm so sorry, guys. You have no privacy. It's okay. I tried to advocate for you.
No.
Okay, no. I understand what you're saying. I mean, I heard that when I was growing up. All you heard it was like, "You're in my house." Something like, open up the backpack.
But also, here's another thing, Chris, is that I take care of kids too. I know what they're doing, right? I don't show any judgment with my pediatric patients.
Right.
I am completely non-judgmental. I have nothing to judge you on, but I hear the stuff that they're saying. I understand what they're saying.
Oh,
Right.
They're a different generation. They're way smarter, way savvier than we were. They have more technology, more outlets for way more things. They just know too much. They get exposed too young. You can never be too careful.
So I think for our listeners, I think the important points to kind of wrap things to the end is, number one, talk to your children constantly, right? Keep them informed and educated. And, you know, I think the non-judgmental, making a place of comfort and safety for them to talk about what's going on at school so they can tell you so that you can know if there's a red flag, right? And speaking to their teachers constantly and so forth is also very, very key in this kind of environment.
But I also think making yourself present,
anytime.
right? As a parent, we have to be involved. So I have to be part of the,
Right.
I want to be part of the PTO. I'm going to go on field trips. I'm going to do this stuff. I'll block my schedule. It doesn't matter because it's my kid's safety and importance. And I don't know what's happening. And I don't want some other parent that I don't know chaperoning my kid on some field trip. And I don't know what their thoughts are, beliefs are, what they have on them. You're not supposed to have a gun. But if you do, I want to be around.
Right, exactly. And then when your kids go over to have play dates, always ask, is there a gun in the house?
You should.
Is it locked? Is it safe? You should.
Yeah. If you don't
you
feel
should.
comfortable asking the question, then you shouldn't drop your kid off.
Exactly.
Exactly. And then finally, like teaching kids, hey, if I see a gun, what to do? If my friend, if Timmy or Robbie or whoever it might be comes to school with mommy or daddy's gun, what do I do? Okay. And first of all is tell a teacher, tell an adult, you know, say something. Big. Okay. Don't keep it to yourself. You're not helping him, because if something happens and he gets hurt, you're going to feel really bad. Right. So that, and then you could get hurt too. Right. And then also when they get older, educating them, you know, on the proper things to do in those situations as they come up, you know, staying safe. So, and I think the air tags on the backpack is a really good idea. So kudos to you guys. That's kind of ingenious. I was like, wow, they got like trackers on it. That's great. And it is basically, I mean, for parents too, when you're considering putting a gun in your home, weighing the benefits and the risk.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, I'm sure it was a very interesting conversation in both of your houses.
I think if you're going to, you need to make sure there's the proper safety precautions. So basically safes and the way the safes are made, right? And where they're located too, right? So do they have fingerprint that you have to do? Or is it coding? Or is it both? What is the way to get into it? Where are they located in the house? Is every single gun in the house in a certain safe? That's a really important thing. Right. Okay. And then Dr. Wall, for you, the conversation that you had when you embarked on this, what was, you want to give insight, a synopsis?
It was not a good conversation. Let's put it that way. It was a male versus a female opinion as to gun control. Let's put it that way. I feel like males in general, I feel they need to, because they have a whole thing about protection. So it's like, hey, I need this protection and I need to protect my family and this is the option I have. And I'm like, really? So there's going to be a gunfight in the house if somebody comes in? Like, that's my whole thing. That was a whole conversation. But eventually there needs to be some compromise. And as Lubna said, I guess make sure there's a safe in the house, the code, the whole fingerprint, know where it's at. Make sure where it's at is not accessible to children, because they will fiddle with it until, yes, they can play with it until they magically open it. So especially where it's at and all of that. So it was a very interesting conversation. Let's put it that way.
I imagine. And, you know, also I want to say this. I'm just going to play devil's advocate. I'm going to get in trouble. You know, as a black man living in America, him having a gun is probably what giving him.
We had that conversation as well.
I could tell. Don't worry. Okay. All right. So I think this is a really good episode. Thank you guys for joining me. And of course, there'll probably be a part 2 because we're going to get some type of feedback from folks. So thank you for joining us on MDFM, and good night.